So I haven't seen my son in 5 months, and he decided he wanted to like ask me a few questions. So we're gonna do this question and answer period. So we're gonna see how this goes. All right. So I'm gonna flip the camera around, and he can ask the question, and then I'll flip it around and I'll answer. Ready? These are unrehearsed, so I don't know what he's gonna ask me. Ready?
Ready? So the first thing that I always think about nonstop when I think about like if I would be able to do the trail would be like, especially doing it alone like you are, would be like once you make it to camp and you set up for the night and you're done hiking, like what the hell do you do? How do you not kind of lose your mind at night just of boredom, loneliness? Like, just, I feel like I'd be sitting there freaking out, just like wanting to go home or wanting to just like start hiking again, not being able to sleep.
Well, to be honest with you, you just explained my evening. I lose my mind. I get depressed. I freak out, and I wonder what to do with my life. So I think you answered my question. So
And then you just like get through it and then start another day. So it's like 5 months of
so
torture.
so the it sounds to me like the question is, knowing me as you do, because you're my son, how do I get through those hard nights and make it to the next day?
And did it ever stop after a while? And did you start to ever reach a point where you started to enjoy it a little bit and start to just actually feel nice and relaxed being there, and that like went away a little?
The answer is no.
I'm dead.
The answer is no. Um, I never got comfortable with this hike to the point where I reached a nirvana stage, a stage of comfort. Um, I think sometimes when you're hiking and you have a great day, you kind of get there. But I've talked about this in all my videos, so it shouldn't be new news to you since you've watched all my videos. But the answer is, all right. Let me just simplify the answer to your question. The answer is it's been continual for me, a continual struggle, suffering, and wondering why I'm out here every step of the way, which is why, to me, it's amazing that I've even made it this far. Personally, I don't know how I made it this far, except for I'm not a religious guy, but I spent
But
a lot of time praying on the trail, and I think God carried me through this. I really do.
you just made me think of another question.
All right, go ahead. Hold on, wait, hold on. Go.
So this is the question, and I think I know the answer, and you have to tell me if I'm right. You made me think to ask if there was one thing that helped with my original question, and that carried you through. Would you say that it was your cell phone? And can you imagine doing this without a cell phone or a way to communicate with like us and Rachel? No way.
Well, one of my good friends, Mark, told me once that the trail was a lot harder in the old days because you didn't have cell phone and GPS and this, that, and the other thing. But I was like thinking to myself, my answer to him was, in some ways, the trail is actually harder because in the old days you didn't have those distractions.
Oh, and then you can see things on Instagram that you feel like you're missing out on.
I I think having a YouTube channel actually, to me, was a way of uh, being distracted on the trail and feeling like most of the time I felt like I was talking to myself, and having the channel and recording it was a way for me to keep moving forward because I felt like, even though I only had like 235 viewers, it was like a way of talking to myself and being understood by them. And man, I actually think that I live in my head If you haven't noticed that by now, that's why my name is Words on the Trail. Is
Mm-hmm.
I think that I live in my head, and I think being on the trail uh, allowed me to be in my head. And I think having a YouTube channel, it wasn't so much about the viewers as it was about like me hearing myself, and in some way that was valuable to me. Um,
You actually just led me to my next
all
question.
right, he has another question here. Wait, before he asks me another question,
What?
um, I've said this before. It's like these feelings can't be expressed. It's like it's really hard to put into words how you feel out there and how you struggle out there, and it's really hard to come up with answers to those questions, especially when you don't know yourself. But go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know you're gonna say mental, but I was gonna ask, after all these 1,500 miles, is the trail for you more mental or physical? I know you're gonna say mental, but before you answer, really think about it for a second, and then what do you say?
Obviously, he hasn't been watching my videos.
I watched every single one, and I know that you're gonna say mental, but I think that it really might be physical.
Um,
And I think that you think it too, but I think that you don't want to say it.
what do you think? How about that? You're my you're my favorite
So
YouTube follower. So why don't you tell me why you think I did it?
here are the things where I think it may be mental. I think for you it may be mental with your morning routine and the same things you said, how you really need to make sure everything's good to go before you can start to crush miles. That takes a lot of time out of the day and makes it so you can't take as many breaks to do some more miles. And then I would say would also be mental for the end of the day when you need to make sure that his bag honestly does look like he hasn't hiked a mile on the trail. It's actually pretty impressive, to be honest with you. Shit's in a pristine condition.
You want to grab me a PBR while you're saying?
But the only reason I would say it may be physical is because of the way, like, hiking with you today, you seem like you really were just like very, very drained and tired, which has nothing to do with being mental.
So he's a young boy. Give me a PBR. He's a young boy, so he doesn't really understand this yet. But he's asked me whether it's physical or mental.
They heard me, my guy.
I would say this. It's ritual. It's a ritual, right? And I don't want to get into the Zen Buddhist Alan Watts kind of thing, but like that's just because that's not really my my I don't really beat to that drum, but like it's a ritual. So if you get up and you want to clean your pack and you don't want to have salt all over the straps and you want your stuff organized and clean, it becomes a ritual, right? It's like prayer. You know, whether, no matter what religion it is, no matter what you subscribe to, it becomes your own ritual. So if I want a clean pack and I want to wake up at 9 o'clock and I want everything in order for me to go on and do the next 10, 20, 30, 45 miles, it becomes a part of your, it's what you are. It's like, yeah, I'm OCD and you can attack it all you want to, but for me, it's like that's how I want to live my life. It's a ritual. So I get up, you know, I clean my pack, I clean my stuff, and if I leave at 9 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock, that's just my ritual. Just like you know, I do 10, 15, 20 miles on that particular day. If I want to get in by 5 o'clock and not and set up my tent again, it's my ritual. So it's like it's just what I am comfortable with, and that's why, you know, that's why I'm here, and that's why I decided to maybe this isn't enough for me. It's just me. You know, it's not you. It's not him who's never fucking done more than 5 miles a day or 10 miles a day. You know,
5 miles.
I know, and I never told anybody I was going to Katahdin. When I left Connecticut and flew to Georgia, everybody was asking me Katahdin, Katahdin, Katahdin. I was like, if I last 5 miles, 10 miles, give me a week, get me through Georgia, get me through North Carolina, Tennessee. We're just going to see how it goes. And I spent 5 months out here, and I got to my hometown in New York, and I got to my hometown in Connecticut, and for me, that was Katahdin. And if I have a ritual and I have a way of doing things, and that stopped me from going Katahdin, I was still, here's the key, faithful to myself. I still am faithful to myself. Next question, motherfucker.
I randomly just thought about this one too while you were talking. This is like a little bit lighter of one.
Yeah, ask me some real questions.
The entire trail so far.
Ask me some real questions.
What was first thing that comes to your mind? What was the best meal you had?
The best meal I had.
That comes to your mind just first. What did you enjoy the most this whole hike?
The best meal I had.
The viewers want to know.
The viewers want to know, he says, what was the best meal I had?
I'm going to start asking some viewers want to know questions.
He's going to start asking some viewers want to know questions. The best meal I ever had on the Appalachian Trail was...
First thing that comes to mind, you can't think about it.
It might have been here in Connecticut tonight.
Those wings, you really do got short-term memory loss, guy.
Dude, I'm not a foodie. I've probably been starving myself to death in some way.
You don't say with those shoulder bones.
I think the best meal the best meal I ever had on the Appalachian Trail was the hunk of cheese Uncle Johnny brought me.
I'm dead.
I'm not even kidding.
That's honestly a good
He brought me a hunk of cheese and a few chips while we were drinking V&S bourbon at his house while I was shitting around his house for a week, escaping a hunk of cheese in the right atmosphere is so much better than like a nice meal somewhere.
I get that. Honestly, you should have, instead of carrying a stove and all the weight from a canister, you should have just carried like blocks of cheese on the trail. I know a lot of people do that.
There's a lot of things I should have done differently.
Next viewer question is, which trail town has your heart?
I enjoyed Laughing Heart Hostel a lot in Boiling Springs. Laughing Heart Hostel was a really good setup. They had a really nice room. We had a cookout. They had beers in the refrigerator. You didn't have to walk into the town. That was a really nice time. Boiling Springs Laughing Heart was probably a good time.
Just thought of another one. If you decide to
ask me a hard question, ask me like
this is
how I kept from killing myself or something like that.
I already did ask that, but this one is, if you do decide that this is your finish line, what are you the most sad about missing out on? Is there anything in mind? I feel like you maybe don't have a lot of things, but I'd be thinking about maybe Mount Greylock. I'd be thinking about, there's a lot of fun things to do in Vermont. Obviously the Whites. Maine.
What am I missing out on? I'm missing out on having not seen you in 5 months, seeing my daughter, seeing Honey Baby.
Is there one thing that you kind of wanted to
see?
Or
my little Petey. I miss out on my family more than anything.
No, I'm just saying, is there one part of the trail that you kind of did really want to see?
I did. I wanted to cross the Mass Pike. Yeah, I wanted to cross the Mass Pike.
You did say that. See, you care way more about the sentimental things. You could care less about the views. Huh?
No, I don't care about fucking Katahdin. It's more sentimental for me.
Yep. That's one thing you guys got to know about Kafkuba.
What's that?
Exactly what we just said.
Dude, this has been a spiritual... I had no idea why I was coming out here, but it's been more of a... I wouldn't want to say a spiritual journey. I don't know if I was trying to find myself or... God, my neck... Look at me. I'm a wrinkly old man. You know what?
How did you make it
I should
all
just
this
go home
way
and kill
without having
myself.
coffee in the
I hate
morning?
getting. You know what? I hate getting old. You know, this might have been about like fearing getting old too, to a certain degree. Like I fear getting old. Been at the same company 35 years. My neck's wrinkly. I'm disgusting. Nobody finds me attractive anymore. Ah. I wish I was as handsome as dude. Dude, my brains in your body, we can go places. He's a waste. He's a waste of brains. If
Dude,
if he had my if he had this up here, he'd be unstoppable.
my brains are on next level as Kafuba.
Ye- Huh?
I was gonna say, how did you make it this long without having coffee every morning?
By going into town every chance I get, and Rachel sent me uh special hydro sticks
Nice.
that had caffeine in them. Oh my god, look at me. Oh my god, it's all over for me. I'm gonna hike the senile trail after this. So, you have any real questions? Anything tough? I mean, ask me like something really tough. Think about it.
Pause it for a minute. I gotta think.
Hold on.
So everyone knows that your little gig is
My little gig.
being like, I wouldn't say negative, but I'm gonna say negative. So tell the viewers what your most positive, if there is something that you really took away from this experience.
I already answered that question. It's that how much I missed my loved ones.
Yeah, but you've always loved us, so something else.
I did always love them. Something else.
Like something, if there's anything that really changed a little bit about you, your thinking, your mindset in these 5 months. Like, I know at your age it's probably hard to change the habits
At
that
my
you've already
age.
built in
At
your
my
brain.
age.
But let's hear it if there is something.
So the question was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, what positive experience can I get from this?
Like, not to be rude, since you're 70 and all, but like at your age, it's pretty hard to change the wires that you already have established in your head. You're kind of who you are at this point. But would you say that the trail snapped a couple chords, kind of changed anything in a positive way at all in this experience?
The answer is no.
I'm dead.
Dude, you've been my son for how old are you? Almost 27?
I just want you to say, oh, one day I was walking down the trail and I saw a rainbow and was like, maybe life is worth living.
Dude, he's been my son for 27 years. I already found myself years ago, and that's why they're such great kids. Right? I've been honest and open, and I did a lot of work in my 30s and 40s, so
Wait,
the answer is no.
The craziest thing.
Press me. Say, Dad.
This is it. The craziest thing he said to me today was this.
Who?
You. We're walking down the trail, and he said, I haven't had any time to think out here. That blew my mind. It is completely opposite from everything every human being on the planet would ever say. Walking 15 miles a day and not having time to think. And he tells me the whole time he's walking, he's thinking about where he's going to be in town, where he's going to make reservations, scheduling shuttles.
Yeah, it's not exactly I'm sitting on a Himalayan mountaintop like with my legs crossed and like and meditating. I'm worried about tripping, falling, injury, where I'm going to go, where I'm going to set up camp, where I'm going to get food the next day, where I'm going to resupply, where I'm going to fall and trip and break my leg. So it's like,
hey, his new his new trail name, it's not words, it's Worrywart.
Worrywart.
We should have called him Worrywart since the start. That's his name now.
Worrywart or Worrywart?
I don't know, whatever it is.
A Worrywart. Worrywart's not even a... We're gonna call him Worrywart.
What is it, Worrywart?
I think it's a Worrywart.
Oh, big difference. Everything you say water, my guy.
Oh my god. As if he was out on the Appalachian Trail for 1,500 miles.
There's no way in
Dude,
hell.
so
I would do
we
it at
hiked
this age.
today. We only did like 10 miles, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna go into Kent tonight because I'm gonna sell."
Hey, don't let him fool you. I'm completely down the hike tomorrow, but I feel bad for him, so I said we take him home to a pool
He felt so bad for me. His knees were hurting already.
party. It ain't easy when you're 190 pounds.
I was like, we can hike it under 10 miles tomorrow. We can go back to Addie's pool, and he was like, "Oh, let's go back to the pool."
You heard it here first. I want to hike tomorrow, so if you don't see a video, it's because of him.
Says the guy who only hiked 4 times on the Appalachian Trail.
I got the mommy daddy Frady scares.
Jeez.
So I just thought of another one. Besides the Smokies, when it was negative 20 degrees and you were
It
freezing,
wasn't negative 20 degrees. It was probably 20 degrees.
and you were like actually scared for your life. If you could pick one other moment when you said you like were probably the closest to quitting, when was it and why? And like what was going through your head?
So the snowstorms in the Smokies were tough, but the torrential downpour lightning storms that came in Virginia, like for like a week, where I was walking in water up to my calves, and I couldn't even see the rocks. So I was navigating rocks, and there was lightning falling and trees falling around me. I hate rain. The Smokies sucked, and it was cold. But getting wet and walking in those fucking rainstorms, I hate rain. Rain was killer.
You know what? That might have been it then. It might have been the rain. It might not have been the setting up so much, the packing your bag. It might have been the rain.
No what?
Like that might have been one of the biggest slowdowns.
Well,
Because that's a big part.
Well,
of the trail.
then we went from rain to complete drought and
No water.
really hot weather and gnats and mosquitoes, and that wasn't fun either. And then just look at Lehigh Gap where I was climbing a mountain in the blazing hot sun with gnats flying around me. I just I can think of better ways to spend my vacation time. Dude,
I just thought of another viewer question.
I should be fishing or just hanging out on the beach somewhere.
Was there ever a moment on the trail where you saw a view and you actually thought to yourself like, this is really beautiful, and it kind of actually did take your breath away for a split second?
There was a lot of moments like that, except
What's the first one that comes to mind that you really loved, and where?
well, being up on my Caffey's knob, and I mean just because it was iconic,
Yeah, like in the movies.
but that lasted 20 minutes, and then you realize you have to just keep hiking.
And you love the farmlands.
I gotta be honest with you. And I said this at the beginning. The trail's a farce. I feel like the trail's a farce. I mean, I would much rather hike to the top of a mountain. I don't care if it's 1,000 million feet high or whatever, and just spend a week there in my tent and relax and enjoy it.
Yeah. Like today when I was asking you the question, we were sitting at that view and I was like, do you know anyone that just sets up camp right here, puts their mat out and just stays at that view? Like that's the kind of vibe I would want too. So that's kind of what I was getting.
Yeah, I probably should have done some acid and mushrooms and stuff like that. I probably would have enjoyed the trail a little more if I had done some acid and mushrooms, but I didn't. I didn't even smoke weed, you know. So maybe that's the problem. Yeet. So now I got a question for you, Sonny boy. Are you ready to do the Appalachian Trail? After seeing me?
So I've known this for a while. I came to this realization after I did a few weekend hikes. I never want to do it when I'm younger. If I did do it, it would have been between college and when I started my career, and I already screwed that up. So I think the perfect time for me to do the entire thing would be sometime when I'm in my 40s or 50s, kind of like you.
No, be honest though. No,
No, I'm being serious.
do you even want to attempt it after seeing like today? Like today, I was telling you, okay, we hiked so many miles. We went up and down, up and down, up and down. I said, could you imagine doing this every day for 148 days?
Oh, so here's another thing. The one thing I would do differently
Uh,
and hope is that if I ever did do it, hopefully one day whoever I'm with would want to do it with me, because I think that would be game changer. I think if I had my wife, if she was really into it one day, I think that would be an
wife.
amazing experience.
He's gonna bring his wife
Because
out.
let's be real.
He's gonna bring his wife out here
Let's
now.
be real. What did everybody hikes the trail as couples? If you had
No,
Rachel with
they
you,
meet out
that'd
here.
be- No.
They meet out here. They don't hike with.
I've personally followed on YouTube so many couples that have done the whole trail together.
See, he's living in a fantasy world.
Nah, it's not that. It's just like if you had that support from someone else, I feel like it'd be cake. But if I ever did do it alone, I probably still would want to. But it would be when my life was already established, kind of like you, where like I already did everything at home. Basically, everything was complete, and I can step away from that for a while. I'm too busy building.
Let's just go
with it.
nowhere. Ah.
Yet. What's the one word that you always say that you are? The gist of your channel.
I don't know what.
The word that you don't want to say instead of negative mindset and negative thinking.
Oh,
Kakuba.
a disappointed optimist, or
Yeah,
or
the
enlightened,
basis of your
or
channel.
enlightened.
It's another word. It starts with an N.
Nihilistic.
Yeah. If there's, since the trail wasn't it for you, clearly. If you had to guess, is there one thing in the world that you think could change your mindset in a way and to be more of a positive person? Or do you think no? What do you say?
I'm not. Repeat the question.
Like, since that is kind of set in stone, you're kind of just like your kind of personality, and the trail kind of really didn't change that. Is there anything in this world at all that you think may have the ability to do that? Or do you think no?
Absolutely.
Like what?
I'm a romantic.
You're a romantic?
I'm a romantic. I need love. And it wasn't on the trail. The one thing I want more than anything in the world is to be loved. Whether it's my kids or my honey baby or my Petey Petey. I'm a Cancer. I don't want to be alone. I like being alone. I like that alone time. But
Hey,
if I could be with one person,
you know what?
if I could be with one person that loved me more than anything in the world, that's what I would choose.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, because when I think back on some of your favorite moments on the trail, it has to do with those relationships like you formed with people that you really, really liked a lot on the trail, you know?
That's why I'm words.
Yep. Like, I feel like you like that.
I like connection with people
Yep.
that I love to be. I love being alone, but I only need a few people to make me completely happy. And the trail doesn't give me that. This gives me that. And my daughter gives me that. And Honey Baby gives me that. And Baby gives me that. I miss Baby so much. And my brothers who welcomed me into their home. Right? I love connection. And I got some friends back home. They might know who they are. That make me gay.
Ah, gotta say